Well, yeah, sure, but all cops are jerks anyway.
I'm a cop.
Well, I mean, sure, I wasn't talking to you, just like, cops.
I mean, most of my friends are cops. I've got family that are cops.
Um, Sorry, you're breaking up. I can't hear you. Are you there?
No, I still hear you just fine.
This is awkward.
A little bit.
All right, hey folks, welcome back. I got a special guest, Officer 401. He's an actual cop, he's a friend, and he's in the public arena as well. So I'll go ahead and let you know, if you want some great content, make sure you subscribe to his channel, and I'll put his links down below. The intention of this video is to have some real talk with him and perceptions of police officers, because this is my contention. If you're a military member or a veteran, everyone's like, hey, thank you for your service. And if you're a cop, they're like, ooh, a cop, and it's just, I think there's a propaganda war that's going on as the public opinion and viewpoint of cops is low, and I don't think it should be that way. Now, public opinion is really fickle. It's media driven, it's propaganda driven, so maybe you have traces of that. If you think all cops are like the worst people ever, I ask you for just a few moments to suspend judgment, meet one, hang out, because I think that's important. And, public opinion on veterans or cops can ebb and flow. If now it's in vogue to be a veteran, and everyone's very excited to thank you for your service, which is really cool for me as a veteran. I'm like, hey, roger that. But if I was back during Vietnam, everyone would be spitting in my face, hating me. So it means something to be a soldier now. It didn't then. It meant something to be a police officer before, but now it's people don't really think very highly of cops, and that's absolutely horrible. I make it a point to thank cops for their service, because a lot of times it's a thankless job. I think of it as, and hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. Hey, Officer 401, say hello.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
First off, before I get to some of these points that I wanted to get to, and let me make a quick note, baggage claim, because I want to go over that. Let's deal with some questions right off the bat, so we can get them over with. Number one, are you a jerk on a power trip who finds joy in harassing the general public? Be honest. You're under oath here.
Absolutely not.
Agree to disagree. Two, are you here to enslave the American people?
No.
Three, do you like donuts?
Not really, no.
Are you even a real cop?
Yeah, one of the few rare ones that don't like donuts.
Are you a puppet of the state, ready to seize everyone's freedom?
No.
Do you hate black people?
No.
Why would you arrest perfectly innocent people?
I don't arrest innocent people.
Oh, just the guilty ones? And
yeah, that's the job title.
No, that makes more sense. So it's not as bad because of I get it. So anyway, what did you do before you were a police officer?
I did a number of jobs. I worked in the restaurant industry. I worked for the local school system as a network administrator, did a lot of graphic design, scripting, things like that. And then spent some time in the Air Force, got out, and became a cop.
Very good. I asked the question because a lot of folks, when they deal with police officers, they were assumed that y'all came out of the womb with a badge and a gun, and you've always been a detestable police officer to some of these trolls. And you weren't just, hey, they're just normal folks who got a job policing, and some stayed in, some got out, but it's, you know what I'm saying? Do you get that as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think people have this kind of preconceived notion that cops are people that were picked on in high school. And I can't speak for every other cop, but at least as far as myself, I was never picked on, and I was never a bully. I just kind of got along with everybody. I never had any problems with anybody in high school. So when people tell me that, it's funny because I know from my past that's not true at all. So just kind of one of those times you kind of roll your eyes and just ignore it.
So lots of my students are cops. I mean, I got family that are cops, and I've got a ton of friends that are cops. So I do notice that a lot of police have a little bit more of a jaded or cynical viewpoint of people. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, no, that I do agree
Where
with.
does that come from? Why is that?
That's a good question. I get asked that a lot on my channel. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, especially like for me, I've been doing this. March was 10 years. So after 10 years of dealing with the worst of society, you start getting that jadedness because you don't come across the good people in the community
Right.
as much as you do the dickheads, put it frankly. So you kind of start developing this syndrome where, everybody's your enemy. And as you progress in your career, you start to learn that it's not like that. I would say that really starts to set in maybe around 4 or 5 year mark. And then maybe around the 8 or 9 year mark, you start to realize, you kind of have to snap out of that. And again, I'm only speaking for me. I don't know about everybody else. Do you need to get that?
Sorry.
No
Please
problem.
go ahead.
Um,
Surprise, everyone. We're on Skype. All right, go ahead.
but again, at least for me, I found myself in a point where I did kind of see everybody as not necessarily the enemy, but you very much separate yourself from non-law enforcement people. So like people I went to high school with, old friends and stuff, I really didn't have much contact with them anymore because once you're a cop, you basically only hang out with cops and their families. So I kind of had to break myself of distancing myself from everybody. I think distancing would be a much better word than, um, you know, just seeing everybody as the enemy. But that's kind of the mindset that you do develop, and you just kind of have to snap out of it.
So do you think that's been always some like ubiquitous phenomenon where there's, as soon as you become a cop, it's just the special little cop club and nobody else will be in it? Or is that something that's more kind of media driven and more a day, something that's in our day and time now where there's that separation?
I think honestly, that's a good question. I think that comes from a lot of different areas. I think the media is a huge one, especially in modern times with the way as easily accessible as social media is. But a big part of it is just how people treat you.
Yeah.
Once you become a cop, all your friends, they don't want to tell you their secrets anymore because they think you're going to bust them. You walk into a room and it's like, hey, the cops here, hide the liquor and stuff. It's like, people treat you differently. Plus the media, I think it's a number of outside influences that kind of make that change.
Gotcha. Is that frustrating for you in a social sense where you just want to be like, give me a drink, you jerk. I'm here to just hang out. I mean, don't
Yeah,
kill
no,
anyone and but what do you want to shake people and say?
um, I can't tell you how many times I've gone into a restaurant and the first thing somebody says is, "He did it." They point at their friend. It's always, "He did it." I have probably heard that over probably 2,000 times at least.
Next time I
Um,
see you, I'm going to say that joke
I know you will.
just to
I
tick
know
you
you will.
off. I hope it really irritates you.
But it's just, I don't really know how to put that into words, honestly. I think if people just, it's a job title, it's a lifestyle and stuff. Just like you understand with the military is a lifestyle.
Right.
Police work is its own lifestyle. But you're still a person. It's just a job title. I bleed the same color everybody else does. So, to separate you just because of a uniform that you wear is kind of outlandish to me, I guess.
Right. The thing that brought about my desire to do this video was actually traveling in an airport. I was having to pick up my bag at baggage claim, or not at the baggage claim, at one of those little offices because I had a firearm, and so you have to pick it up special at the little office some of the time. And anyway, I was just thinking about baggage claim, and here's folks that always see people that have problems. And so, man, you draw the short straw at an airport to work baggage claim. Am I right?
Oh yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and I feel like in the same way, they're always dealing with people who have problems and bad attitudes, and cops are doing the exact same.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, that probably goes into the dynamic as well of like cops are some of the most cynical people. People are inherently bad and try to be good. You probably don't agree with that, but anyway, it'd be more easy to have that worldview as a cop who is always seeing the bad in society, right?
Yeah, and I think a good analogy for that kind of brings light to what we deal with is, you have to think nobody calls 911 for a good reason.
Right.
Nobody calls 911 to say, hey, how you guys doing today?
Everything's awesome. You guys good?
People
You
always
need...
call 911 because it's their like last ditch desperate effort that they need help from somebody else, from an outside source, from a person they don't know that wears a uniform to come in and intervene on their behalf. So most of those situations aren't going to be pleasant ones.
Yeah. So, with people, and I think there's a divide that people don't know how to approach cops or be friends with cops anymore. What would you say to kind of tear down that divide? How can you get cops to like you as normal friends and kind of separate that? I have an answer that is absolutely immediately you'll get any cop to like you. And I'll ask you, but first I wanted you to weigh in.
I'm assuming it has something to do with a donut.
No, it's not a donut. I'm not going to go that route. It's too cliche. This one's an ace in the hole. I really nailed it. You'll see. But
No,
what would you say?
That's a good question. I think it takes work on both ends. I think cops need to be a little more open to people approaching them. For instance, like yesterday when I was at work, there were some kids at a lemonade stand, and their moms were out there and stuff. So instead of just like rolling by and maybe waving at them, I got out with them and I opened up the car door. I let the kids get in the car and check it out. And the moms were, appreciative of that. I'll hand out stuffed animals. We have stuffed animals at the office. So if I see a kid and their parent walking or whatever, I'll get out, turn on the lights for them. And but you need that. You need that on both sides. You have to have an officer that's willing to be friendly and
Right.
kind of be that spokesperson for the department, but also a friendly public that doesn't just view the police force as this like overbearing authority.
Right. And I see that on my Instagram is, cops doing awesome stuff and really going over and beyond. That's not your job to do that. That's you,
Right.
just you trying to be a good dude and say, hey, listen, we're a force for good. We're here to help. Really, just don't be a jerk. Don't break the law. If you're a jerk and you break the law and you're a terrible person to us, then we're forced to be jerks back. And typically cops just, hey, don't sue us. Don't hassle us. Don't be a jerk. We'll be nice back and all will be well with the world. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. So here's my ace in the hole. You ready to hear it?
All right. Yeah.
If you want any cop in the United States to be your buddy, quote Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I won't. That is a good point.
All you have to do is quote Super Troopers. So, for instance, in my firearms classes, I've never ever taught a class that had a cop in it where at some point someone didn't look at a missed round on target and said, oh, don't worry about that little guy there.
Yeah.
But
we do the same thing at the range.
Yeah.
We do the same thing.
But here's the thing is I've been hearing that joke for years as an instructor, and every time it's genuinely funny to me. So I'm not hating. I'm actually I'm looking forward to the next one. All right, here's one for you. Are there really jerk cops, people you just don't get along with? Are they all sweethearts, or there's something in between? Give me an average profile of just kind of the cops you know and rub shoulders with and the cops you hear about.
I would say the majority, and when I say majority, I mean like 90 to 95% of the cops that I know are very laid back people. And they're just like me. They just don't have YouTube channels. You know what I mean? I think everybody thinks that cops are firm and all that. The face that we put on, we have to be firm in certain situations. We can't show up to an incident and just let the people on scene take control.
Right.
So it's our job to go there and take control, which is why we always have that kind of stern face. But, we're regular people. Now, I would be lying to you if I said there aren't asshole cops. There's always going to be asshole cops.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. But there's also going to be asshole janitors. There's
Right.
going to be asshole members of the military. You have those in
Right.
every profession.
Yep.
So, and I've used that argument before, and somebody came back with, well, an asshole janitor isn't going to cost somebody their life. And that's absolutely true. And, those few dickheads in between, most of them are solo. We have a guy, anyway, without going into too much detail, he's pretty much by himself all the time. He's an asshole. Nobody wants to talk to him. He's an ass to the public, and we don't want those types here. Right. Another misconception is, people think that we're HR. I'm not responsible for another officer whether they get fired or not, because everybody's like, well, you just back the corruption. I don't back it. I don't have anything to do with it. But I also don't have any say-so in whether that person gets fired or not.
Right.
So,
yep. Cool. Officer 401, thanks so much for being on the channel, man. This was real cool.
Thank you, Brett.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And so folks can find you on your YouTube channel. You're on Instagram. You Facebook as
Yes, sir.
well. Twitter.
Yes.
All those things.
Never
All
use
those.
it.
I don't know how to
It's
work
Instagram
Twitter
and
either.
Facebook.
I don't get it. I don't understand. So
I don't
anyway, I'll
either.
put his links below. But man, get to know cops. I mean, they're just normal people. They're just working a job that's been stigmatized by the media, and they're lonely for your friendship. Isn't that right? Officer 401?
I'll take the friendship. Why not?
I mean,
Better than
they're even going to be, if you don't become friends with them and lay off this, they're going to have no one left but firemen.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
All right, very good. Guys, train hard, train smart, and we'll see you next time. Anyway, Officer 401, if that's your real name.
It's not.
Okay. You should think about that. It seems disingenuous. Cops don't even count. They're jerks.
What do you mean they're jerks? I'm a cop.
Yeah. Hello? Hello, are you there?
Yeah, no, we still have a good connection. It's solid green, so.